Hello everyone, this video is a bit different because I'm not talking about my PhD and I'm not doing any watch reviews and I don't talk about watches here, but instead I'm doing my fountain pen collection review and just overall stationery stuff that I have. So yeah, if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, let me give you a bit of a backstory. So I got into fountain pens about I think that was a year ago. The reason for that was because I noticed how much I was typing, and at the time I was doing my grad school and I just got so sick of, typing basically. So I wanted to have something a bit more, I would say, crafty, something that you do with your own hand. And I didn't really enjoy any of the ballpoint pens available at the time. So I was like, okay, maybe I should get into fountain pens so that, I make my writing process a bit more enjoyable. And it turned out to be, a very good idea, but I also got into that rabbit hole of fountain pens and different nibs and stuff like that. Well, you know the drill. So yeah, and let's start with, I guess we can start in chronological order. Let's start with the first fountain pen that I ever got, and that one was this Pilot Metropolitan. Okay, so it's a pretty nice pen. I'll try to make it stay in focus. Okay, so it's a pretty nice pen. I do enjoy writing with it. However, now I don't really write with it that often. I got this one in fine. And yeah, it's a typical Japanese fine nib, which means that it's kind of, well, in my case, it's a bit scratchy. But a good thing about this pen is that because of the fine nib, because it's stainless steel, it just, you don't really have to have very thick paper that we typically use for fountain pens, which means that, you can write basically on anything with this thing. And I think it's a really good starter. So it has this weird, I don't even know what this is, some kind of converter, but yeah, it's not super convenient, so you can just use cartridges with it. Standard Pilot cartridges fit, and they don't cost a whole lot. So yeah, I guess that's all I can say about this. I think I'd been writing with this pen for a long time, and then I switched to something different. Yeah, and I don't remember what that was. Probably Chinese pens. Let's see. Okay, so next pen I got was probably this Jinhao. I don't remember the reference number off the top of my head, but it's a pretty nice pen. It's like a copy of Parker Duofold, I believe. Let's see if I can make it in focus. Yeah. So I have no issues with the nib. It's a pretty nice nib. Again, it's in fine. I just like finer nibs for some reason. But this pen has one drawback, which is that it just dries out all the time, and I don't know what to do with it. I tried to fix it. I thought maybe it's in the cap, maybe it's in the body, but I don't know, it just dries out. So if you guys have this pen and it doesn't dry out, let me know in the comments, because I don't know. But I mean, it's super inexpensive. You can get it off AliExpress or on Amazon, anywhere basically, and it's inexpensive. It's a nice pen, so yeah. It comes with a standard converter. What are those called? Conventional or something like this. I forgot. I always forget those names, but whatever. So, and let's use some Rodia paper. This is a very nice Rodia dot pad that I got, and I just use it, for testing out pens and writing some stuff once in a while. So let's try it out. And I guess I have to get rid of this thing now. So because this pen is really inexpensive, I sometimes use it just to test out some inks that I'm not really sure about. Here is an interesting story. So this pen is currently inked up with this Montblanc ink. And this ink is probably over 30 years old because I found it in my grandma's closet. And I guess it used to be blue, but now it's this very interesting faded greenish color, which I kind of like, but I didn't want to ink up my other pens, which I like, so I decided to use this ink with this pen. So let's see. Excuse me in advance for my handwriting. Oops. So this pen is not really good posted because it's like super long, as you can see. That's why I never post it. So yeah, it's dried out already. Jinhao something. Again, I don't want to write this whole plethora of words in here. So Montblanc, let's say blue. Although it's not blue, at least not anymore. But it is pretty nice. It's very difficult for me to show it to you, but I'll try. It does have this interesting emerald green tint to it, which I kind of like. Okay, let's move on to the next pen, which is, I don't remember which one I bought next. Oh yeah, I do remember now. So it's these guys. These are very familiar to people who are into fountain pens because these are Jinhao 10s, copy of Pilot Vanishing Point. So I have no issues with these pens. They are very inexpensive, super affordable. You can get them anywhere and they do the job. So both of them are, I think, in fine, but they do write differently. I cannot demonstrate it to you, unfortunately, because as we all know, Jinhao 10s dries out like super quick. They dry out super quick. So that's why I don't think any of them writes currently. Yeah, this one doesn't. This one doesn't as well. Yeah, there we go. But typically, if you use them on daily basis, then they're great. I just don't happen to use them all the time. That's why they dry out. And then, you know, you can do the trick with like putting them in warm water and then you can write with them. But I just don't do it because I don't use them that often anymore. But for the price, very nice Vanishing Point copy. I tried Vanishing Point, like the real deal, and I can't say that I felt a whole lot of difference. It was about the same. But definitely the Vanishing Point is much better because it just doesn't dry out. If you can get used to these ones, then it might be worth buying an original. So, the original, sorry. I don't know, what's up with my English today? I haven't done reviews in a while, so I think I'm forgetting how to do it in English, in proper English. Okay, next pen is Asvine V800. I absolutely love this pen. I know it's a copy of Montblanc Meistertück, but I don't give a damn. I just like this pen a lot. And again, it's very inexpensive. The nib is fantastic. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really nice. Again, this one isn't fine. Obviously, I never post this because posted it's too long. It's super juicy. It writes very well. I really like it. The ink in this one is Diamine Ancient Copper. One of my favorite inks, especially I think it just really matches the whole vibe of the pen, which is this sort of amber, auburn kind of color. Let me show you how it writes. So it's Asvine. Oh, I forgot. It's a vacuum filler. And I need to do this. Yeah, I forgot to mention that it's a vac. It's the only vac that I have. I'm not a big fan of vacs, but they do the job, and especially, you know, the ink capacity that you get in these pens is fantastic. But I always just ink them up with a syringe and a blunt needle, just because I think it's much easier than doing this whole plumbing thing. Yeah, fantastic ink. I really like it. And of course the pen is great. Let me show you the ink. Oh, there we go. This is how I can do it. In this lighting you can't really see, but Ancient Copper is actually much brighter, especially when it dries out a bit. Then you can see all of the sheen like that it has to it. again, I really like this ink, but unfortunately this iPhone camera doesn't really show you the real deal, but it's very nice. So after trying all of these Chinese pens, I decided to go for something a bit more expensive, and I decided to go for this one. I got it off, I believe, eBay, and this is Pilot Custom 742, not 743, but 742. The reason why I went for that one is because it was a bit cheaper, first of all. Second of all, it's a cartridge converter pen, which means that it's much easier to clean, and it has this beautiful 10, I think it's 10, yeah, 10 karat gold nib, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a soft, fine nib, which means it has a bounce to it. I usually write with this pen, like I write with it all the time, and I prefer to post it because it just gives you this very nice balance. And let me try to demonstrate. Oh, I forgot about the ink. I believe that we have, in this one we have Pilot Iroshizuku Yama-Guri, which is very, very nice. One of my favorite inks, to be honest. And I just like Pilot Iroshizuku inks. They are one of the best inks ever, and they're definitely worth what they're asking for them. Fantastic pen, as I said, because it's soft fine, it just has a lot of bounce to it. You can do a bit of line variation. Let me demonstrate that to you. It does have it. I'm not a big fan of line variations. I don't really use it at all, I would say. But if you're, a fan of this kind of thing, you can do that. I prefer soft, fine nibs just because of the bounce. You just feel as if you have a bit more control over how the pen writes overall. And I just use cartridges with it because the converter, I don't like the ink capacity of the converter. That's why I just fill up cartridges with ink, and it works super fine. Next, but last but not least, we have this Montblanc Meistertück. I believe it's 144 Classique. Not sure. Why? Because again, I found this pen in my grandma's closet. I never thought that I would own a Montblanc because they're freaking expensive. But things happen in life. I didn't know that anyone in my family had that kind of pen. I think it was bought in the 90s, probably end of 90s. It has snap cap, which is interesting. And I think the nib, hopefully I can show it to you. It's 14 karat gold. So again, very interesting. Never thought that I could own such a thing. Again, one drawback of this pen is, it has nothing to do with the pen obviously, it's just that I prefer bigger and thicker pens. This one is super slim, so let me put it next to Pilot Custom 742. You can see how small this one is. And it's still you can write with it, but I like bigger pens. That's why my hand gets just super tired if I'm writing for too long with it. But it can be a super cool, very nice EDC piece, just because you can uncap it like this with one hand and then write something with it. I always write with it posted, again, because otherwise it's just too small for my hand. And the ink is very generic Waterman Serenity Blue. A big fan of this ink again. So, there we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, next up, I've got 2 ballpoint pens. Let's start with this one. This is a very familiar to you all, Parker Jotter. Okay, let's stay in focus. So, yeah, I don't think there is a whole lot I can tell you about this pen. It's very nice, reliable, and low maintenance pen that you can just, carry around, have it in your backpack or in your bag, and it's always ready to write. Never dries out, basically, at least on me. Uses standard, I believe those are like 0.5 ballpoints. And this one I currently have a Schmidt one. So, yeah. And I don't want to write the ink stuff because it's, it's a super standard black ballpoint ink. So this one is very special to me because it was made by one of my friends and PhD colleagues, Chris. Shout out to Chris for making this one to me. It's a ballpoint. It has this magnetic cap, which I really like. So, and I don't know what to call this pen. Let's call it, so Chris made gift pen. Again, thank you, Chris, for crafting this one for me. I really, really like it and really appreciate it. But let's go over my inks. I showed most of them to you, but I haven't demonstrated all of them just because I don't use a whole bunch of inks. Also, I don't really ink up all of my pens. That's why I only use like basically 2 or 3 of my fountain pens on a daily basis. That's why I just have some inks in stock in case I want to switch to something else. Well, this is Waterman Serenity Blue. You've seen this one already. Diamine, Ancient Copper, Pilot, Yama-Guri, Sailor, Shikiori, Rikyucha, I believe. Very nice color, but this ink is super similar to Yama-Guri. That's why I typically use either this or this one. Just pretty similar sometimes. Depends on the paper, really. So, and I also had this ancient ass Montblanc. 30 years later, Montblanc still works. Great. Notepads and papers that I use. Let's see. First up, we've got Rodia dot pad. I use it to test out my pens. This is what I've been using this entire video. Well, I have to explain why Rodia is one of the best papers to do that. If you're into fountain pens, you know. But yeah, I also use it for like drafts and just short notes, taking notes, stuff like that. Next, this is Midori. Pretty standard Midori paper. This one doesn't have any dots or lines, nothing like this. I just love this paper. I use it, I will not show you anything in it because I use it as my diary. But it is fantastic. Like, if you want to experience very cool Japanese paper, just go and grab yourself one of these Midori notebooks. And you can customize it if you want to, but I have no need for that because it's just a diary. Mnemosyne Maruman bigger notepad. I like it. Again, otherwise I wouldn't be using it, right? I use it for like some studying and other things. In my opinion, it's a bit different to Rodia and Midori, but it's very nice because it's thick. And another thing I like about it is that it's a notepad, but it's a bigger one. So, you buy one of these, it will last you for quite some time. Also, I tried different inks on it and different pens, and they all write super smooth, basically. If you're not a big fan of this, then maybe Mnemosyne Maruman is not really for you, but if you want that kind of smoothness, then go for this one. If you want to feel the paper, then I'd rather go for Midori. This is something like in between Rodia and Midori. Then, so I had this traveler's book. Yeah, it's just a copy from Amazon, I think. Well, I got it on Amazon. I don't think it's from Amazon, but it's super nice. So I have some inserts with, you know, like my daily planner. I have some, what else do I have in here actually? So notes and reflections that I write over here. And then I have creative and not so creative ideas. Yeah, so I also have this insert. Oh, here is a picture of my friends and me. Yeah, where I keep like stamps and some stickers. One of these like extra pockets over here. This one you can use for, I sometimes use it for money. If I have some notes like cash. Yeah, so basically I just carry this thing around all the time. Typically I use it with a Parker or with my Montblanc, just because of how simple it is, like to do this and then quickly take note. Or again, this one because it's a ballpoint. But ballpoints are not as fun as the fountain pens that I have. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I don't really have anything else. I don't need, to be honest, anything else. And that's why I don't really have any plans. I don't plan on getting more stuff because I think I have everything I need. I'm satisfied with the inks I have. I'm sticking to the type of paper that I like. I have two of my favorite pens, which is Pilot Custom 742 and this Montblanc. Oh, actually three, because this one also has a special place in my heart. And typically if I write something, I do it with these three. And then I have my Parker if I need to, you know, to take like a very quick note or something. And all the inks that I have over here, again, I already think that even having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inks is too many. So again, like for instance, I don't use this one if I use this one and so on. I'm just trying to say that you don't have to have a tremendous collection of pens and inks and different types of paper if you want to be a stationery collector. Like, figure out what you like, figure out what fits you, what suits your lifestyle and your purposes and your goals in terms of like writing by hand, and then you'll be satisfied, because now I don't feel that I need anything else. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was a bit messy. It's my first time doing a review like this. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you. Bye.